Hello, welcome to the last video today. This is video 14, which has to do with cultural differences. And the question is, are we really so different? This is the last video with the last level of English, which is the mastery level, level C2. And this is lesson 6. So it has to do with exploring the world one culture at a time. So in this video, we'll be focusing on cultures, perspectives, communication, respect, understanding, tolerance, empathy, global citizen. So to begin with, well, level C1 has to do with global issues and academic debate. So if your level of English is C1, it means that you are able to participate in highly sophisticated discussions, evaluate complex perspectives, and communicate with near native fluency. It doesn't mean speaking fast, but it means that you can share your ideas spontaneously as you communicate, and you're able to integrate all these sorts of knowledge that you have. So you're not using just the language, but you are also sharing knowledge and information what you know about a given specific topic. You can analyze and synthesize complex information. You can evaluate multiple perspectives critically. You can present nuanced, balanced, persuasive arguments. You can use precise idiomatic and academic language, and you can lead discussions and debates confidently. So, today you are going to explore one of the most important aspects of international communication. Why do misunderstandings occur between people from different cultures? Why can two people speak fluent English and still fail to understand each other? Next, are some cultures more direct than others? And how do cultural values influence communication? So let's begin. Cultural differences. Are we really so different? So the competency today is to analyze cultural differences, intercultural communication, and global perspectives using advanced English and critical thinking skills. So let's imagine the following situation. A British colleague says, "That's quite interesting." An American colleague says, "That's a great idea." A Japanese colleague remains silent. A German colleague says, "I disagree." Who is being polite? Who agrees? Who disagrees? Who is being respectful? Well, the answer depends on culture, because communication is not only about language. Communication is also about values, expectations, and also it has to do with social norms, for example. So, what is culture then? Culture is often described as the invisible system of beliefs, values, behaviors, and expectations shared by a group. Culture, of course, influences, to a large extent, communication styles, body language, personal space, time management, classroom behavior, professional interactions. So now this is the first question for you to reflect on this topic. Have you ever felt uncomfortable in a different cultural environment? Why? I invite you to think about that, okay? We have several different cultures in communication, and this is the difference between direct and indirect communication. So some cultures, such as commonly associated with, for example, Germany, Netherlands, and the United States, they favor direct communication. Examples: "I disagree, that's not correct, I don't think that will work." The message is usually explicit. Other cultures favor indirect communication, often associated, for example, with Japan, Korea, China, and of course, many Latin American contexts such as Chile, Argentina, Peru. For example, perhaps we could consider another option. That's an interesting perspective. Maybe there is another possibility. The message is usually softened rather than explicit. Most people who've traveled abroad or who've interacted with other cultures undergo what we call the so-called cultural shock. Many people experience, firstly, excitement about the new culture, frustration about the other culture, then adaptation, and finally integration. So reflection now. If you've ever been abroad, spent a significant period of time abroad, which I know is subjective, but you've been abroad and spent a few years ago, abroad, then I want you to please share your comments, your views below this video. Have you ever experienced culture shock while traveling, studying, or working? I've had the honor to travel several times. I've been to Greece, to Italy, I've been to the US, I've been to the UK, to London a couple of times, and I've been to Iceland, I've been to Argentina. Actually, Argentina is my favorite place ever. And I've noticed these cultural differences in the way people behave, how they use Spanish or English in different contexts. And well, here you have advanced language, for example. So, for example, useful expressions at level C2 to express your opinions. From a cultural perspective, it could be argued that one possible explanation is cultural norms often influence to compare ideas, whereas in contrast, compared with on the other hand, on the one hand, on the other hand, to evaluate ideas. The issue is more complex than it appears. This assumption may overlook context plays a crucial role. These are just some examples that that are at level C2 and that of course demonstrate your high that you are highly competent in the language. So now this is your challenge, okay? I want you to speak for 1 minute. I want you to answer the following question. The goal here is, well, this is the question. What is the biggest cultural difference you've ever experienced? You need to try to give a real example, compare two cultures, explain how communication was affected, and use at least 3 advanced expressions from today's lesson. These are the expressions, of course. One possible explanation is it could be argued that from a cultural perspective, okay? So you now have 1 minute to achieve this goal. Remember, the idea is that you watch the video, you pause the video, you consult books, text, phrasal verbs, references at level C2, and then you speak for minutes about this topic. Remember, the question is, again, I'll say it again, so you can benefit from this video. What is the biggest cultural difference you've ever experienced? Are you ready? So now you have 60 seconds to share your views. All right, time's up. So guys, if you've been able to integrate and to embed C1 expressions, your opinions, and you've been able to talk about cultural differences and achieve all these goals, and if you've complied with all these ideas, if you've been able to give a real example, if you've been able to compare two cultures, if you've managed to explain how communication was affected in the examples you've provided, and if you've used at least 3 advanced expressions from today's lesson, then well done, good job, okay? You've made it. And here you have examples at level C2 for you to have more examples about what advanced English and mastery English means, okay? So you have, for example, when you said, and it's about cultural differences, when you said we'll see, did you mean yes or no? In my culture, it can mean maybe. Let me explain. They ask for clarification. At work, I think we have different ideas about the deadline. Let's make sure we understand each other. They are trying to negotiate, meaning traveling abroad. Is this dish very spicy? A little spicy. Oh, a little can be very spicy for me. So they share their perspectives. In the classroom, in some cultures, students don't interrupt. Exactly. Let's respect all styles. So it's respectful to wait your turn. They learn about each other. In online conversation, your message sounded a bit formal to me. I see, in my culture that's normal. Thanks for letting me know. I get it. They give feedback kindly. Social event, different cultures, different customs. So let's enjoy and learn from each other. That's what makes it so interesting. They find finally common ground. So cultural differences can lead to misunderstandings. But according to these examples, good communication helps us negotiate meaning. So my opinion is to ask, clarify, listen, and respect. That's how people, that's how we human beings connect. So having said this, okay, we've completed the 6 videos in which you've been witnessing and you've been able to witness how the different levels transition from level A1 to level C2. I invite each of you to watch, go over the videos again, practice as much as you can. I will be uploading more videos with different topics that have to do with one of these levels or some of these levels so you can continue improving your English. If you like this video, remember, if you've liked this video, please share, okay? Share it. You can share it with your friends, with your colleagues. Like it, of course. And I look forward to seeing you in the upcoming live sessions in which we will be either talking about some of the topics, the contents from the videos, or some of the sessions will be devoted to either A1 topics where people will be introducing themselves. We'll be talking about past experiences, so you'll be joining those sessions in particular. I will be inviting those people who think that their level of English is B1, so they can also share their opinions about some of the topics. Level B2, level C1, and level C2. I'll be sharing the topics in advance so you feel prepared to come, share, of course, interact with other speakers in the live sessions. Okay, so coming up soon, and I'll see you in the next videos with more interesting topics related to English language teaching and learning. Thank you for following my channel and for all your support so far. See you. Bye.